Hi, this is Matthew again, talking about something a little different. It's a TV show, but it's from Singapore. Again, it's on the Me Watch website I mentioned in another video that will go up at some point. Me Watch, all one word, literally me and watch.sg is where it's at. It's a show called Code of Law. It ran from 2012 to 2020. There were some gaps in between those. As far as when the seasons aired, there were 5 in total. Only 63 episodes. I think they moved from 10 to 12 to 15 episodes or so every season. Just kind of depended on the running order. It was around that. Most were 15. I'm only in season 2. I'm not very far into season 2, so I don't know much about it. It's interesting. It follows kind of like the Law and Order series, where you have someone discovers the dead person, then goes to the Singapore police. They do their thing, and eventually it goes to a law firm of attorneys who will defend the person, and it goes to trial. However, in Singapore, there are no jury trials. I think it was back in the 60s or something, they decided to not do them. So it's just them talking to the judge, and the judge will decide what happens when he hears the testimony of the prosecution and defense, basically. And apparently they also can hang people and cane them. Most seem to be prison time, but one person I've seen did get a sentence of they hanged the person, which I had to go look that up. I had no idea. So yeah, I don't know if they have like lethal injection or anything, but most seem to be prison time of various years and durations. But one was hanged. I've not seen a caning sentence yet. I don't know if they have that. They don't show any of that. They just the sentence handed down, but you don't see. You don't see that on screen. It's not described. They have a little bit of audio description, but it seems to be in relation to blind people or people with disabilities. In fact, the thing I was watching is gone, so I guess it must have expired. I don't know if they were their productions or not. They may have been from somewhere else. Yeah, it's a very interesting show. It's there's a lot of interaction between, especially the attorneys. A lot of interaction between those characters and their brief things about them. It's kind of like Law and Order. Their job and what they're doing is focused on more than their personal lives are. Some cop interaction with the police force there in Singapore, not a ton for the most part, but a little bit. Yeah, it's a very interesting, just a different legal system that I don't know as much about. Kind of similar to the U.S. in some ways, but they were a British colony at one point, and of course they were part of Malaysia. They broke away from Malaysia and all that. So you got kind of cross cultures going on. In English, it's in English. It's an English series. They do have other things in Mandarin and Chinese and Tamil and stuff. I don't think this was ever dubbed into those. Those are the main ones. I know sometimes on the website they have some Korean and like Chinese and Japanese and stuff also. Yeah, this one is a MediaCorp production. MediaCorp is the big main kind of public broadcaster there. It is free to watch. You don't have to have a VPN to watch this. Totally free if you want. They do have an option which they call Prime, where you can pay without ads. The only option I see here in the US is a quarterly option. They don't seem to have any monthly or yearly or other options, at least that I can find. So just take that into account. If you do purchase it, it will bill you quarterly. Obviously, currency, it shows it in Singaporean currency, but when you pay for it, it would show in, when I looked at it, it will show in the currency of your country, whatever country you happen to be in. But yeah, it's a interesting series, and you don't even have to have VPN because it's something they produce. Those all seem to be available for free for news most of the time anyway. I don't know how that my coworker here at work turned me onto this service in the first place, and this show. It's very good. Apparently, at one point it was not available, but I guess it's because it's an older series that it's not. But I watched another one on there. It's more of a soap type show, and it is available, and it's currently running right now. So I'm not sure how they determine what shows are non-geo-blocked. It's mostly imported things, from non-Singapore, but not always, apparently. And of course, the TV channels, this airs on Channel 5 there, but you have to have VPN to watch that. It will not let you watch it. It just says it's not available. Puts up a dialect message, but this won't do that at the moment of recording. So you can watch all 5 seasons, and I think the spin-offs, too. I think they're available also. I forget what there's a couple spin-off shows relating to this that weren't very long. Various police and detectives, I think, are through the show. I don't think there's anyone that's consistently all the way through it. Very much like Law and Order, how you have, and other shows like that where you have cops come and go, and attorneys come and go and such. Yeah, it's a very interesting way to look at a different country's legal system and just how they live their lives. Much more formalized here, but in another show there's a lot of what I call Americanisms in the culture, but I don't see that as much in this. Mostly English. You do hear some like Chinese spoken. I think there's some Malay spoken by people. I don't know if they're subtitled, or maybe they just assume people speak some of those languages and they don't do that. I don't know. It's not described, so I don't know if they're subtitled or not. I couldn't read it if there was. And it's kind of tedious to do it on my phone, if I would do it that way. Their website, if you want to watch it there, you cannot run any of the controls. All you see is the time that is left on the show. You can poke things, but it just tends to they're just kind of really not labeled in any form. They just seem to make the show go forward. And you can't go back, and you can't pause it or anything like that. If you just want to watch it that way, that's fine. A little better on the iPhone and iPad side of things. You kind of have to tap once and some controls will show up. They definitely show up if you get a phone call. You can definitely go and resume something if you're watching. They are visible there, but it's one of these where they kind of, as I said in the other review, where they are there for a second and go away because they just assume you can see it and poke whatever buttons you want to poke, which is a little bit harder with the screen reader because by the time you read them, they're gone occasionally, but you can run this. It is usable. It's much better on the mobile side. I don't know about Android. It's there. I don't know how usable it is. I don't have a device to check its usability there, unfortunately. I don't know if it's on smart TVs. I've never looked. It probably is. I have never tried that. I should at some point. I assume so. My TV is a Google TV just because I have YouTube TV and it was the best way for me to use that service. So I might check the Play Store and see if it's available. I've never tried. I just tend to use it either on a computer or mostly the iPad and iPhone, but I do use a computer occasionally to watch something. I've not tried on the Mac though. I just know about the Windows side. I should try it on my Mac and see what it does there. I just have not ever felt inclined to look, which is silly. I should look at some point. I'll have to try that. But yeah, it's Code of Law. Very similar to Law and Order, how those are laid out. Interestingly, they have little bumpers that go before the commercial break would happen. The first season had that same bumper when it came back, kind of like how it used to be in the 80s and 90s here. I know the Spanish telenovelas and stuff still do that. on the Invision and Tilt window and stuff over here. But in season 2, the bumper is on the first where the break happens, and then it just comes back to the show. So at least in 2, they removed the bumper. I don't know if it comes back or maybe it's just gone. It's just a little portion of the theme tune, which is kind of a weird little keyboard theme. I'm not sure what kind of style you'd call it. There's a guitar in it too. Pretty good guitar solo by somebody. I don't know who the composers are. I was looking at the Wikipedia article. I didn't look to see if it had listed any of that. I was just more curious of like when the episodes aired and kind of how many there were, that kind of thing. I didn't look at the characters because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. If anyone were to get killed or leave or something, I didn't want to see it. One attorney does leave in the she gets transferred to a different division, but I think she went to Malaysia perhaps. I don't know how. I think there's some interconnectedness between this little kind of city type thing, like the Vatican kind of is in Malaysia still, even though they broke away. But I think she was from Malaysia or something, but she was there, but she went back. But she said we might see her because she moved into like a corporate law. I guess there's a bigger law firm. I don't know if it's just in Singapore or perhaps it's in Malaysia also. But I think she went to Malaysia to work kind of the corporate law of this firm. I'm not quite sure exactly because I haven't seen. I've only seen 3 episodes of season 2. That was in the 2nd episode, and she's not in the 3rd, of course. But yeah, very interesting show if you've never seen a show in a country like that. It is definitely English, mostly accented speaking, but some are clearer than others. But it's interesting to hear their speech patterns, and some of them are more formalized English. They do kind of speak a pidgin English over there with other words in it, and they might like drop a word here or two, kind of like a non-English speaker who doesn't speak English well would do, but it's kind of on purpose in a way. They just kind of shorten phrases occasionally. It's kind of weird, but not as much in this show, but in the other show I watched, Provocative, they do a lot of that. But this is much more formalized. They don't do as much. I really don't hear as much in this. A lady from the Philippines did, but that's probably because she doesn't speak it very well. Most are very formalized. They speak it full sentences. They don't drop words or phrases or anything. They don't shorten words or anything. So just different styles of of each show, how each show is. Yeah, they're all kind of different. Yeah, Code of Law, mewatch.sg. The apps are in the both app stores. I think they're on different smart TVs. They have the website. Just look for Me Watch, all one word, me and watch, like me watching something. I guess before that I called it Toggle, which is kind of weird. I don't know. I didn't know about it until like February when my coworker was talking about it on the bus. I'm like, oh, I'll check this out. Oh wow, this is different and interesting. But yeah, as I said, it's totally free. They do have optional pay stuff. They have other things from other channels over there, but you have to be in Singapore. It won't take your info. I tried one, it didn't let me. But it will take the Prime for MeWatch works globally, I think. Obviously, as I said, some stuff will be a VPN, but anything, if it's domestic, it will be pretty much available to watch free without any kind of restriction. So I'm watching this one. I can watch it wherever I want. I don't need to log into it. You have to make an account, like most things, but email, password, that's about all you really need. I think you put in your name, I think. Pretty easy form, not too complicated. And that also will work on their Me Listen website, which is fairly geo-blocked for publishing or music-related stuff. The news channels work there. Music does not work here. It does kind of work in the UK on the laptop anyway for Windows. On anything iOS related, I cannot seem to get the play button to play no matter what I try to go into, even Singapore. But yeah, they have a me listen and me watch. Same, just me insert word there .sg. But yeah, code of law. It's called all spaced out. Code of law. Give it a look. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's a snapshot into another country and cultures. Singapore seems to be a real mishmash of cultures and stuff. It's very interesting. Just the kind of stuff that goes on in the different shows, just different cultures mixing with each other, different languages spoken all over the place. People seem to know what they're talking about, so they must speak more than one or two languages, maybe 3 or 4 or more. Kind of cool. Again, it's on mewatch.sg or the mewatch apps for various platforms. But that'll do it for the moment. I will see you guys in another video.